Welcome to the Comic Sauce Podcast, where we talk comics and comics culture. I am Henry Liu, and today I'm joined by Porfirio Rangel. Porfirio, how are you?
I'm all good, Henry. Happy spooky season.
Yes, indeed. I am also joined by Christian Diadamo. Christian, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well. Happy Halloween.
Yes, indeed. Today is October 25th, 2024. So it is indeed Halloween season. Happy Halloween. And to moderate today's discussion, Porfirio, take it away.
Thank you, Henry. Holiday or Halloween is my favorite holiday season of the year. Um, I thought about dropping a cool that we should have a fun Halloween comics episode. And so today's movie that we're reviewing is AVP, Alien versus Predator. And so some people might be thinking, that's not a comic book movie, but they are wrong. Um, well, yeah, so this movie was the Alien and Predator franchise. The first crossover was from a comic book titled Aliens versus Predator back in 1989. And there's been like some like hints here and there back in the 90s about the two franchises crossing over. There's a scene in Predator 2 where Danny Glover's character goes into the Predator's ship and goes into the trophy room, and he sees a xenomorph skeleton. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
I do not
Uh,
remember that.
kind of remember it. It's something that I think was like pointed out to me like as like an Easter egg,
Yeah, yeah,
but
like
it is really like quick and you miss it type of deal.
it is, yeah. So, as far back as, yeah, like there's been some hints there and there. So the idea was first pitched to Fox in 1991, and it was greenlit, but they did not actually move forward the project until later, like a decade later in 2002. And then fast forward 2 years later, 2004, AVP was finally released into theaters. 20 years later, here we are talking about it. So, before we get into the film, I really just want to ask both of you guys, which have you guys seen all of the Alien and Predator movies?
I can start there. So now that I've watched AVP, there's a very short list of Alien or Predator movies I haven't seen. So one is the AVP sequel. Haven't
Hmm.
seen that. And I haven't seen the latest Alien movie, Alien Romulus. But other than that, I've seen them all,
Okay, Henry. So yeah, you got a good knowledge of the both Alien and Predator franchise. What about you,
relatively.
Um,
Christian?
yeah, for me it's gonna be a little different. I think I've seen more Predator than Alien. There's definitely some gaps in my Alien watching. I've seen Alien, Aliens, and then Prometheus, but I haven't seen three Resurrection, Covenant, or now Romulus,
Hmm.
which I've heard good things about Romulus, but the ones I haven't seen, I think most Alien fans have not spoken too highly of them. So I think I've just skipped them. Predator I've seen a lot more of. I think the only Predator movie I haven't seen is The Predator from 2017, also not highly spoken of either.
Well, I mean, I think like we could all generally agree, whether or not they're good or not, they're entertaining. You know, who doesn't want to watch like an alien xenomorph and a predator creature just creating shit,
Yeah.
and hurt and making chaos, That's the selling point. Who
Yeah.
cares about the story and the humans?
Yeah, generally true, I would say. Generally, these movies, Alien or Predator, uh, entertaining for sure.
hmm So yeah, like I said, there's been some crossover between the two franchises, and this movie does a pretty good job at keeping to the Alien and Predator timeline. You know, like I said, there is some connection. Like Predator 2 features that xenomorph skull, and so one can argue that AVP is a sequel to, or at least happens after the events of Predator 2 and years before the first Alien franchise, you know?
Hmm.
So just keep that in mind. Like we're introduced to Wayland Industries in this film, which, if you recall, is like the big business company in the Alien franchise.
Right.
And Wayland himself, like a human, not an android, Wayland himself is actually featured in this movie.
Yep.
And here's a fun fact, if you didn't already know, he's played by the same actor who played the Wayland android named Bishop in Aliens.
Right. Yeah,
Oh
yep.
yeah, that's right.
Yep, yep, yep. Oh, we didn't give it earlier, but we should probably give the spoiler
Oh yeah,
alert,
spoiler
right?
alert. Even though if you haven't watched this like 20 years later, like Henry and Christian, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so that same actor who played Bishop in Aliens reprised his role as playing like the OG human Wayland character. Um,
Hmm.
so let's kind of start it there. What did you guys think of, that kind of fun Easter egg fan service kind of thing of the actor reprising the role?
Yeah, I had a couple thoughts. I thought it was cool. Like this movie was made or released in 2004, and happy 20th anniversary, AVP. It's a time that, there was some Easter eggs and fan service, but it wasn't as much a thing as it is now, right? So early in AVP, you see Lance Hendrickson kind of doing that knife thing, right? He with the
hmm
fingers.
hmm
Like, it's a really subtle thing, right? But I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, that's that thing he does in Aliens,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of cool. And I wasn't like 100% sure that he was that character in Alien. So then I like looked it up and I went down this rabbit hole about Bishop and Wayland and all the timeline, everything you just mentioned, Porfirio. And it was like, holy shit, it definitely was an homage to that scene in Aliens. And that scene in Aliens takes place like about 100 years after the events of AVP, right? So then why would this actor who's older in AVP than he was in Aliens doing that? Well, he's human in AVP, and then apparently the android character he plays in Aliens was made with the likeness of this character.
hmm
This character is named Wayland, so he was like the founder of this corporation that is featured prominently in the Alien film franchise, right?
hmm
So like so cool. Like I love how it's all connected and this is way before like the MCU or like all this fan service stuff we talk about all the time. So I think it's really cool that they were tapping into that sort of thing way back when.
hmm
Yeah, it is really cool that they go out of their way to really make it feel like it's part of a existing canon.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the first Alien movie takes place in the 22nd century, so well
hmm
over 100 years in the future. So it's cool that you see the beginning of it. Whereas I think they really could have just phoned it in as far as when and where this takes place. Uh, they could have been just, oh, it's just whatever corporation, doesn't matter. You just want to see the alien and the predator fight. We don't have to try to make it canon, but you definitely see the care with the way they incorporated Wayland and like the company, and it does make it feel just more authentic, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And just to give everybody like who's listening just a content, so I first saw this movie in 2004 when it was first released. It was the summer before I entered fifth grade, and I saw it in theaters. Like I said, I was a elementary student, and I loved it. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't an expert, of course, in the Alien and Predator franchises I am now, if I can even call myself an expert. But I enjoy the hell out of it. There's a lot of cool action, a lot of cool fights between the xenomorphs and the predators and the humans. Just anything you want as a kid enjoying these two iconic sci-fi characters. But for the both of you, Henry and Christian, this was your first time watching AVP. So I am pretty excited to for us to just dive right into it, get your guys' thoughts, and hear what you guys have to say after watching it for the first time. So, yes, we just talked about the Bishop character. Let's talk a little bit about the plot. And so the plot, it's basically these group of scientists and explorers go down to Antarctica and they find a pyramid that's never been discovered. And they, of course, want to be the first people to discover it. But what they don't know is that it was actually intended for them to be discovered by the predator species because of a ritual of hunting the xenomorphs. So they were purposely um, guided to go down to that pyramid in Antarctica, which is like 20,000 feet below the ice ground, and go into the pyramid and look for whatever they're trying to look for, but it's a trap, basically. And they awaken Alien Queen who lays eggs, and you know, from there I'm pretty sure you could guess what happens. The aliens convert the humans into xenomorphs, and the hunt begins.
Yeah.
Um, what do you guys think of that storyline? That of how everything was happening?
Yeah. When I was watching this movie and the plot was unfolding, and as you were just describing the plot, Porfirio, my thought was the plot in this movie is insane, completely ridiculous. I mean, basically, this movie is saying that ancient human civilizations worshipped predators. Like that's the main premise of this movie, right? That's the
Hmm.
main premise
Hmm.
of the plot. It's just crazy, right? And I kind of dug how nuts it was, you know? And it made me think like, what if ancient humans really did worship alien hunters, you know? And I was like, I'm okay with that, you know? I'm kind of okay with that actually. But yeah, the plot is crazy. It's totally off the wall.
Yeah, it is bonkers. I will say like it is a fun way though to get the aliens and the predators together.
Yep.
You know, how would they, well, the predators would want to hunt the aliens because they would be the ultimate prey to go after. And I think them using the humans as a way to birth the aliens in that like sacrifice chamber was, I think, like a cool little twist on it. You know, I think it sets itself up pretty well for its set pieces, and it's there's just enough to get you hooked, but nothing about the plot really overstays its welcome. I think once it like feels like it's going, it
Hmm.
just kind of keeps going and keeps ramping up. It's nice that the movie's just a nice tight 90 minutes. You're in,
Hmm.
you're out, you have fun. It
Hmm.
knows what it's doing.
Yeah, I do want to say like, both of you guys bring up good points, but yeah, like the inspiration to why they chose to go like a route of like predators being worshipped as um gods is essentially like, a popular or I want to say unpopular theory about like, like Aztec temples and Egyptian pyramids about like this idea that gods are actually aliens, that helped humans build those pyramids, and like it's like that one meme that you guys have seen, like explain this, that, 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 and there's that one dude from the History Channel who's just like aliens, you know?
Oh,
And
ancient aliens.
yeah.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
of course, like I said, I didn't think about all this as a kid, but now rewatching this, I was like, yeah, this sounds a little far-fetched out there. Um, but it like you guys kind of said, it works. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and you're just like, okay, let's just go with it, right?
Yeah. And also I would add there's kind of a cop out where there's this crazy premise, but they have an out, right? They say that if the predator's hunt fails, then they would just like destroy everything. They would just blow up
Hmm.
the pyramid, and I think that's how they explain like why there's no like human record of all this stuff, right? Because of like a failed hunt,
Hmm.
right? So they would just wipe out that whole thing from history. So it gives them like kind of a clean explanation why like there was no previous record of predators or aliens or any of this kind of stuff, right? So
Hmm.
again, it's nuts, but in a weird way, it all kind of works.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Again, rewatching this movie, there's just so many like symbols and illustrations of like predators and xenomorphs, but they don't like nobody's like questioning it. Everybody's just like, okay, like that's there. They can read the hieroglyphics that are on the walls and everything, but no one's paying attention to like the xenomorph um picture illustrated at the bottom of the sacrificial
Right.
chamber or the two creatures fighting one another. I would be like, okay, what the hell is this place? But nobody's questioning it. Like, did for you guys, was I the only one who was feeling that type of way, or did you guys get that, like, kind of like, dude, are you guys like looking at what I'm staring at,
I
Christian?
mean,
Hmm.
Or
I had a quick thought. Like,
mhm,
it's kind of in the grand tradition of Alien and Predator movies, right? You gather this group of human experts, right? You
mhm,
assemble the team, all experts in their respective fields, and they're brilliant scientists, but like they're completely clueless in terms of like the danger that it's imminent, right? So this is more of that. Like there's literally a guy who knows hieroglyphics and everything, and he's able to decipher all these
mhm.
codes and everything, but like you're saying, he is like completely taken off guard by by the aliens and the predators, which is kind of ridiculous. But you know, it's kind of in the grand tradition of all these movies.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
so. Yeah. I guess like we kind of notice it as well because, the movie's called Alien versus Predator. And so when we see them, we're like, "Oh yeah, hey, there's that, there's that." Okay. Um but like you kind of expect the humans to quote unquote continue the plot to kind of keep going further
Yeah, yeah.
into the temple. So I actually didn't think about it, but yeah, you do make a good point that yeah, they probably should have picked up on that and be like, "What is that? That doesn't look natural. Wait a minute, should we keep going?" But I guess that is your in tradition. They're in over their head. It's a horror movie, so there's danger lurking around the corner. But the I guess they might not, or they might be oblivious.
Mhm. I want to go back to a point that you said, Henry, about yeah, like the predators, like if they didn't win the hunt, they kind of like wiped. everything out from existence, right?
Right, right.
There would be like no human record of these pyramids ever being built or any um record of predators and aliens fighting each other and humans being used as rituals, you know? And so this kind of goes back into like the larger conversation about like, predators just coming to Earth to hunt humans for sport and zero history or alien xenomorph interaction on Earth. Like again, this is a century before the first Alien movie, before like humans know what xenomorphs are. And it's because of that, there is no record of an alien um uh trace or evidence being on Earth. And I did
Hmm.
appreciate that little like effort to kind of help like make sure these franchises like stayed within like a continuity storyline, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was cool too.
So yeah, let's keep going and let's talk about the first Predator and Alien fight scene. So this movie features three predators. And like we said, this is like a ritual kind of thing. So we can kind of assume that they're younglings in the process of becoming like a fully trained hunter, and they're killing xenomorphs to prove themselves worth as a hunter. And then we get like an intense battle scene of a predator and xenomorph coming face to face. What were your guys' thoughts on that scene? Christian, you want to go first?
First time, the first time I think the big fight, um, I will say that definitely is a part that I think the movie does show a bit of its age. Uh, I think the first fight, uh, it's like you get a lot of those close-up jump cuts where they're kind of going after each other, and it's like really, really quick. I didn't think that one looked as good. I think today. I think the fight that they have later on, I think the fights do get a lot better.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I remember thinking, the first fight, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of. It feels like that's where the schlock really does start taking over.
Henry?
Um, yeah, I remember when that fight first happened. I hadn't really thought about who I would root for,
Hmm.
but then as it was happening, it kind of kicked in, right? So, as it was happening, I found myself rooting for the Predators. I'm not sure why, but I just kind of gravitated towards that.
Hmm.
And I did like end up rooting for the Predators the rest of the movie. And yeah, it's interesting because uh, as the plot unfolds, the Predators do become the protagonists of the movie, right? They ally with the humans to fight the xenomorphs, right? So I think in a subtle way, I was influenced by the filmmaking, right? I think the filmmaker did want the audience to root for the Predators,
Hmm.
because ultimately they were like the heroes of the movie, right? So in a very schlocky movie, I feel like there was some expertise involved. Like I think the theme of the night is like this movie is surprisingly good, and this is part of it. Like me finding myself rooting for the Predator, and not really knowing why. I think that's part of what works with this movie. Like the filmmakers like got what they wanted out of the audience, right? They entertained us and they like manipulated us in the right way, I feel.
Hmm. I do want to talk about that, scene between the first encounter between the alien and the predator for a bit, but let me rewind a bit. What did you guys think when, when the predators were first introduced in the film? We weren't going to have not one, not two, but three predators. Like in you know, like both of you guys said, you guys have watched the Predators franchise, and usually there's only one Predator featured, but here we get three. So, what did you guys think of that?
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah. And they start off and I think even though you're kind of rooting towards the end, like at the beginning, they're just like killing dudes.
Mm,
They're just like slicing them up with their camo and like they got like those like knives at the end. That was which was a pretty cool scene where you like the guy's like sliding down like that giant like tube thing.
hmm
And it was cool to see three because yeah, I saw Predators before, and then that's the only I think yeah, that's the only other one where you see multiple Predators.
hmm
And every other one, yeah, it's just the one. So it is cool to see three, and I think going up against I mean, you got to bring in the cavalry when you go up against the xenomorphs.
Right. Henry?
Yeah, that was cool. Like there's some cool shots of like the three predators and like silhouette and like it's just, an iconic character design. You see like the dreadlocks and you
hmm
see the weapons and the predators are big in this movie. They're kind of big and hulking,
hmm
Um yeah, when you get a closer look, kind of what you're alluding to, Christian, the movie does show its age a little bit in that, they look a little bit like clunky and, maybe not as sleek as the Predators look in more recent movies. Um, but yeah, initially it's cool. It's like, whoa, yeah, it's unmistakably Predators, right? And they're ready for action, and we're ready for action. And I was just like stoked and ready to go when I saw them.
Yeah, and then later on, you actually see them in action with the main cast. They do what they do best. They're invisible, they're in the shadows. They kind of stand side by side with their statues with inside the pyramid. And then like, one of the security guards, he like sees the predator and all of a sudden he gets killed with a spear, and then everybody starts panicking, and then the predators like go into stealth mode, and it's just a bloodbath.
Yeah. Oh, and to
Mhm,
that point, Christian, you're saying how initially, yeah, the predators were killing the humans, and it's sort of like they seem like the bad guys. But, for me, that made me root for them more because I love that shit, right? Killing the humans. Let's take a moment and talk about the human characters in this movie because I felt like the human characters in this movie are like human characters in a lot of Godzilla movies.
mm.
They aren't that important, and you're kind of happy to see them die quite often. That was definitely the case. Like, it's funny how there was some time and effort and care in introducing a lot of these human characters. I was mentioning the assembling of the team, all these different expertises were represented. But then after that, like they were very expendable, and like they were basically there to get killed by aliens and predators, right? And I could not be happier. Like I was just like loving it, right? Yeah, that scene where it was like a slaughterhouse that you're mentioning, Porfirio. I was
Mhm,
just like, I was in heaven. This is what I came for. I want to see this, right? So that's great. And I mean, the predators were killing in all the ways you want to see them do it. You get the infrared vision, you
mhm,
get the invisibility, you get like the three dots laser sight, you
mhm.
get the wrist blades, you get the spears, the whole arsenal, and it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Now let's turn our attention to the xenomorphs, our other favorite sci-fi creature. Yeah, when like I said earlier, like when they're first introduced, it's a big alien queen who's awakened from a sleep to basically just kind of be used as a prisoner to make and lay the eggs that will be turned into, you know, xenomorphs. Um, yeah, what were you guys' thoughts seeing that alien queen for the first time on screen, Henry?
Okay. Kind of piggybacking on what I mentioned about the predators.
Hmm.
I have a very similar sentiment about the aliens also, because everything you want to see from the aliens, you get that too. You get face huggers, you
Hmm.
get chest bursters, you get xenomorphs, you get the queen xenomorph, you get the translucent goo, you get the acid blood, you
Hmm.
get like the dark room kills, right?
Hmm.
You got the alien eggs, like the egg chamber, um, and you get tons of xenomorphs killing humans. Again, awesome. Like this is what I came for. This is what you want to see, right? So it's so awesome. And then yeah, to answer your question, the alien queen, like that was like the cherry on top, right? Like the whole time, I'm just getting everything I wanted to see, and then in the back of my mind was like, oh wait, we haven't seen an alien queen yet, right? And then sure enough, we get the fucking alien queen. Awesome, right? Um, let's see. It was very big. Maybe it was too big. But like I was saying, the predators are already quite large, so I think they really had to go big with the alien queen. But just the fact that they had an alien queen, that was awesome, right? Because before the alien queen, you do get like a lot of awesome predator versus xenomorph action. But then if they didn't have the alien queen, everyone would be saying, okay, well, the predators may have won, but they didn't fight the fucking queen. So how can
Hmm.
you call that like a fair contest? Like we haven't seen the final battle yet. Well, guess what? You do get that, right? So it's just very satisfying on so many levels.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely get to that final battle in a bit. We'll
Sure.
definitely talk about that. But what about you, Christian? Because, let me just point out, like, I am low-key surprised that this movie did feature an alien queen. Because if you look at the Alien franchise, the only alien movies that have an alien queen are Aliens and Alien Resurrection for like 2 seconds. So I am surprised that they decided to feature an alien queen in this movie. But like probably what you said, Henry, they just want to go all out,
Yeah.
guns blazing. Um, Christian, your thoughts?
Yeah, that was nice that they added it. They do love going big in this movie. And I think for a movie that's like a big versus movie, I think you have to have it. And you have to have the greatest hits of both. Like Henry was saying, where you get the eggs, you get the goo, you get the darkroom kills, you get the like tongue thing that they have,
Oh
like a nice
yeah,
close up of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, the little mouth inside the big mouth, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I
The little
love
mouth
that.
inside the
Yeah,
big mouth,
you gotta
especially when
have
it
that.
goes, that kills like one of the predators, I think, at one
Yeah.
point. I thought
Hmm.
that was really sweet. Uh, and so like, and I guess we'll get more to the final battle at the end when the alien you really get to see the alien queen fight. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I think like you said, Henry, it's something that it's got to be there. You got to really, if you really want to know who wins, you got to see the queen. You got to see multiple predators.
You gotta
Yeah.
have the whole arsenal,
Hmm.
Yeah.
like how Henry puts it. So, let's go back now to the first fight encounter between the alien predator because there's a couple scenes I want to talk about. You get that one scene where, one of the predators, he's in stealth mode and he's about to kill one of the main characters, Lex. And all of a sudden, in the background, like through the predator, you see the xenomorph tail kind of like curl and then stab the predator through the body. And then there's that like face-to-face encounter between a predator and the xenomorph. And I just think that was just kind of like cinema at its finest. It's like if you like just steal that and have that as a screensaver, which I did have for the longest time, of
Nice.
that predator and the xenomorph just staring at each other. Again, like these are two iconic sci-fi characters just look, decades in the making that already have this major legacy and they're just staring at each other. And the music, big dramatic music of like this introduction of the two like facing each other. Like, did you guys have the chills that I did when I was in fifth grade and even recently as I was rewatching this?
Ooh, yeah. Like it's definitely like it's the moment it's been building to.
Mm,
Definitely have the hype and the way you see them. You see like the humans is kind of the fodder first. They're going after the fodder,
mm-hmm,
killing them in the ways you know and love, but since it's called AVP, you're waiting for the big fight.
mm-hmm,
And you're like, "All right, let's do this." So, like I don't know if I got like the big like chills like I think the same way you did, but I will say there is definitely like hype, and I think the way they built to it is really well done.
mm-hmm. What about you, Henry?
Yeah, that definitely was exciting for me too. Because I was thinking it kind of harkened back to past Alien and Predator movies, right? I think particularly Alien movies, where quite often humans find themselves face to face with a xenomorph, right? That's definitely been used before. And to do it here is so cool because it's like it's not an alien and a human, it's an alien and a predator. So it's like double awesome, right? So, and the movie's called Alien versus Predator, so it's like the money shot, right? So, yeah, I definitely got excited seeing that.
Mm-hmm. So now, like the fight itself, like, that shot, unfortunately, that predator, he was a goner. Like he dies. But then the second predator who's in the same room, he gets the honor of fighting the xenomorph. Was there for you guys like one or another that you guys were rooting for? I guess Henry, you said that you were kind of rooting for the predator at that point.
I was, yep.
What were you, Christian?
Yeah, as the movie went on, I will say that like yeah, I did root for the Predator, and I think the reason I think with like the Predator, one is that they look more human-like,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and like the Predator has a code, the Predator always wants like you could tell it's like intelligent and it has like a moral code. It seems to have some form of a like society with the ships. Like you kind of get all these little like hints and clues
Hmm.
about like how the predators work and operate. That there's kind of similarities to like humans, whereas the aliens like they seem just way more animalistic. They just seem like they're just there to kill and that's it.
Hmm.
They're very
Hmm.
indiscriminate. They just want to kill. They're, let's say that they're smart,
Hmm.
but like they look less human. They look, well, alien, of course, but they seem more like just like this force of nature. Whereas I think because the predators have a code, something about them just like you just relate to them more.
Yeah, you could resonate with their
Yeah,
like.
you resonate with them more. And so like I
Uh,
think as the movie went on, the more you just kind of naturally go to the predator,
hmm.
Hmm.
Of course that's the filmmaker's intention because the humans decide to ally with them.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
But okay, although like I will say, um the tagline of this movie was whoever wins, we lose.
I love
That,
that. No.
that's not true. That's a lie.
Right. It's a misnomer.
Yeah.
Cool
Um,
tagline though, I'll say
it's a
that.
cool tagline. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, in that first final battle scene, we see the xenomorph come out victorious. A single xenomorph kills two predators. Were you guys surprised with that? Or were you like, yeah, like what was your guys' reaction to one xenomorph killing two predators? Now we're only down to one, like traditionally, one predator.
Oh yeah, because like I think in Aliens, like um they kill like quite a few aliens. Like they kill a lot,
Hmm.
like the colonial marines when they're like fighting the aliens. Of
Hmm.
course, but like you'd kind of expect the predators would put up more of a fight. Like they're more meant just like physically for like killing, and that's like their entire society as much as we know of. They're called predators.
Hmm.
Whereas like humans, those colonial marines really fucked up a lot of aliens and alien,
Right.
and like you saw like there's a one shot where the alien just takes like the shotgun to the face,
Hmm.
and that explodes it, and so it's like, yeah, those predators, they ain't got shit on Sigourney Weaver, man.
Yeah.
Sigourney
Uh,
Weaver, regular person, way, killed way more aliens than predators.
right. Henry?
Yeah, it is interesting that the xenomorphs start off with the upper hand. But as we find out, there's kind of a reason why the predators aren't doing so great in the beginning. And that's because they don't have their guns, right? They
Hmm.
just have like their blades and spears, right? Um, so there's this um, kind of hokey plot point where the humans find the predators' guns, but the predators need their guns in order to defeat the xenomorphs. So the humans and the predators end up forming an alliance, right?
Hmm.
And the predators do get their guns later, and that's a pretty awesome moment. But until before then, yeah, they're losing this battle big time. And was it surprising? Yeah, a little bit. I thought it'd be more even initially. But
Hmm.
the fighting we got was cool because you got to see both the aliens and the predators do their thing. Like they were showing their strengths. They each side had its moments early on. And it wasn't just like the predators were instantly killed initially. They put up a good fight and it was some good action. I was enjoying it. So surprising, yes, but it was still entertaining.
Hmm. That's what's all about with these two characters,
Yes.
just the kills and the
Yeah.
action and all that.
That's right.
Um, speaking of that action, yeah, we later on get the final predator. He kills a couple alien creatures. He kills his xenomorph by kind of slicing its head with its blades, and then he kills a face hugger with a blade that he throws.
Yep.
And it's like, he has that scene where he marks himself up again, part of the ritual of becoming a um like hunter. Um, we do get kind of like a scene of another face hugger kind of in the shadows. And as the predator's about to turn, the facehugger jumps and then just kind of goes black after that. What were your guys' thoughts with that scene?
So you're
Oh,
talking about when the face hugger jumps at the predator and then the
mhm.
screen goes black.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
well, you bring up an interesting point because there's a quite a bit of like the camera cutting away from stuff in this movie.
Hmm.
Maybe we can talk about this later, but the movie is rated PG-13. So the extreme violence is kind of cut away from at times. And I think this was kind of in line with that. And you are kind of left with your imagination quite a bit in this movie.
Hmm.
So I think that's what happened here, where you're like, oh, what happened is the predator going to get um, a a chest burster implanted inside of it, right? I
Hmm.
mean, how can you not think that when a face hugger comes at you?
Right. Hmm. Christian?
Um, so like yeah, like well, I think I was already kind of spoiled a bit on it because I heard the second one is about a hybrid between the
Hmm.
two.
Hmm.
And so like you see that, and of course at the end of the movie you see um the chest burster, with the Predator. So they kind of set it up for that second movie.
Hmm.
So like it was definitely a point where I'm like, oh hey, is that the oh they're setting it up for that.
That's where it starts.
Ah, okay. Oh hey, yeah, that's where it starts. So that's what kind of like clued me in, you know?
Hmm. Okay, so let's fast forward a little.
Sure.
Like by this point, like the humans are basically all gone. I think at this point the only character left is just Lex. She kind of proved herself to the last remaining predator. She gets marked. Oh no, it does. She doesn't even get marked yet, but she does kill a xenomorph, and that kind of gains her the respect of the predator for being like, okay, you could kill xenomorph, like you're all good. We're all good. Like I respect you.
Hmm.
And so they kind of have like an alliance going on. They like Lex says, like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And like Christian was saying that like xenomorphs, they're just there to just kill, whereas predators, they have uh like a badge of honor and ethic morals that they abide with, and so they're more human-like. So that's what makes it be like, okay, we can't let the xenomorphs escape. The predator plants a bomb to kind of just kill everybody that's left inside their pyramid, and then they go back up the tunnel, destroy the pyramid. It's kind of kumbaya for a couple seconds, and then boom, the alien queen, she's alive. You know? What did you guys think with that now?
Well, it's in true alien fashion where
Yeah.
you think you saved the day. Um, that's a way like both an alien and aliens, you think and then think they're fine, they're destroyed, and then oh boop, here they come, ready for more. So, it follows that nice alien like kind of like throw line, plot structure. So in a way you're kind of like, okay, it's coming. There's gonna be another action scene, right?
Yeah, that's cool. I was thinking the same thing. It's like in the tradition of alien movies, the alien's really not dead yet, right? Also, I would add that it's cool that you get this sort of like schoolyard argument aspect in this movie where it's like, who would win, aliens or predators, right? So it starts off with, well, the predators don't stand a chance if they're unarmed, right? So they have to have
Hmm.
weapons, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But how many weapons, right? If it's just like bladed weapons, they're probably not going to win. Give them some guns, give them the full arsenal, then you got to give the predators the edge, right? And this is like what we see throughout the movie, right? Initially, the xenomorphs have the upper hand, but once the predators get their full arsenal, the predators have the upper hand. But then, of course, you throw in the argument, well, what if one of the xenomorphs is the alien queen, right? It's like, whoa, 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 that's a whole different story, right? Uh, a single predator, even fully armed, would likely not be able to defeat the alien queen. But then, whoa, pump the brakes. What if a very resourceful human was with this predator and they worked together to fight the alien queen? Well, they would be able to win. And all of these things happened in this movie. So you really got to play out like those schoolyard fantasies, right? So very fun.
Hmm. And that was just a cool scene, like action scene, just seeing like an alien queen and a predator just kind of go at it. There are some cool like action moments, like when
Yeah.
Lex is underneath the um water tower, and the predator kind of just like this like jump in midair and kind of like gets his spear inside the alien.
Yeah. I remember that shot. Awesome shot. I love it. Great moment.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah, and so in the end, the Predator wins because the alien queen gets thrown down the Antarctic water. Who knows if the queen lives or not? That's up for debate.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially the last Predator does die, and Lex is the last remaining human from the expedition group. Um, and before we talk a little bit more about what happens after that, can we just talk about like Lex for a little bit? Like, I know we say we don't really particularly care about humans in these kinds of movies, like horror, sci-fi movies, because we just want to see like these aliens just kill them all. But I just think it's pretty cool that Lex is kind of like like not just like the last girl surviving in a horror movie, like complete horror movie cliche, but like she's like a black girl. Like, can you name another horror movie that has a black girl like in the as the last person standing?
Yeah, I
This
agree
is
that
uh,
that is pretty cool.
mhm.
Like, and this is '04.
Yeah.
When you watch a horror movie, you know that people of color are going to be the first ones to die.
I wanted to add too that uh, it's pretty cool that throughout the whole movie, she was the only one saying, we shouldn't do this. Let's stay back. Let's play it safe. She was like the safety person, right?
hmm
And like she was like the voice of reason. She was logical. And everyone else was like, had their own agenda, right? Like Wayland was like, he wanted to leave his legacy, right? And there's like these macho military guys who are like, let's go, I don't care, let's fuck this shit up, you know. um but she was like the lone voice of reason, saying, oh, we shouldn't do this, like this is dangerous, you know, you're gonna get in trouble. And like everything she warned everyone about came true, right? And like I love the fact that she was the only one that survived because she was like the only one who was like thinking logically, right? So I like that. I like that a lot.
hmm
I know in pure horror movie fashion,
Yeah.
she's the smart one. Or she's the smart one, the resourceful one, the one that kind of senses the danger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool also that she's an ice climber and her ice climbing skills do save her life at one point. So kind of cool moment there as well. So yeah, I dig the character for sure.
hmm So before we talk about the final scene, the final chest buster scene, you guys know what I'm talking about. I just want to open the floor. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we get to that?
Um,
Anything
I
you
guess a
like,
quick shout
didn't
out.
like?
Something I really liked was the actual like pyramid itself.
Mm,
I thought that was a pretty cool like set piece or like way to stage all the set pieces.
mm-hmm,
Um, the way that you have the hieroglyphics to kind of set the stage at the very beginning, and the way like the pyramid like traps them and like moves on them as they're trying to like navigate it. There's like this like maze like element and like haunted house element to it to
mm-hmm,
kind of to kind of add to it, and like how it leads to like this sacrifice room
mm-hmm,
where the eggs are and where they get the um uh where they get attacked by the face huggers. And so I think that kind of adds another level of like fun to the movie.
mm-hmm.
I, I think that like the pyramid itself was like pretty cool.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the director of the film, Paul W.S. Anderson. I did not know he was the director of this movie until the credits rolled. And it was almost like, oh, I get it. Because like this guy has a knack for making very entertaining movies. So he did Mortal Kombat, he did Event Horizon, he did Resident Evil, and he did AVP. All four of those movies extremely entertaining. Four movies that you could write off as being schlocky and low rent and trash cinema, perhaps. But I think they're very entertaining. And yeah, he just got a knack for entertaining audiences. So big shout out to him.
Hmm. Definitely. Is there anything negative that you guys want to talk about with this film?
I did have one to bring up. I alluded to it earlier,
Okay.
but this movie is rated PG-13. So, a few thoughts on that. Number one, for a PG-13 movie, this movie is very violent. It's like one of the most violent PG-13 movies I've ever seen. I will say that. But it still is PG-13. As I was saying before, there are a lot of moments where the camera cuts away from violence. Um, and I was just thinking, what if this movie got the full hard R treatment? Like, how fucking awesome could that have been, right? I couldn't help but think that. Like, I didn't know it was PG-13, but I was watching it on Hulu, and every time I paused, they show like PG-13 in the upper left corner, and I
Mm.
saw that I was like, oh, PG-13, really? Oh, fuck, no, man. As I was watching it, it was like, whoa, this is more violent than I would expect a PG-13 movie to be. Nevertheless, I just couldn't help but think, what if they got the R? What if it was a full hard R? Like, it's just one of those what ifs now, right? But in my mind, it really could have been incredible. It could have been amazing, right? So that's kind of like the one drawback in my mind that
Well,
they had to pull their punches a bit.
I don't know if this would encourage you or not to watch the sequel, but the sequel is rated R.
Oh, okay,
I
interesting.
believe it is. Let me just double check for you. But what about you, Christian? Is there any negative things you had with this movie?
Um, yeah, I guess yeah, the PG-13 is I think a noticeable negative, especially when Alien and Predator both are, and all the other movies are R. So you are kind of like, man, why isn't this one too?
Yeah.
Like it does feel like it is a bit of a step down, even though I mean inherently there's nothing better or worse about PG-13 versus R, but when you get R before, you expect it later, and the R does
Mm-hmm.
come with a lot more freedom. So, like I will say that I think that while the movie is enjoyable and fun, like as well, like sometimes the schlock does like show its age. Sometimes you're like I won't say any of it hits any of the highs as much as some of the highs of Alien or Predator. You don't have Sigourney Weaver or
Hmm.
Schwarzenegger kind of like the real big name like kind of leads in the role, you know. Um, and so I don't know if I have too many specific negatives outside of just something that may have come off a little too bonkers, like the plot,
Hmm.
or just kind of dated, like some of the clunky action at times. But like it's like, but I will say, as good as this movie is, much for praising it, I never found it to be as good as any like some of the highs of the Alien or Predator franchise.
Mm. Makes sense, yeah. So yeah, Henry. Yeah, after doing a little bit of research, yeah, the sequel is rated R.
Okay.
Good,
So,
I'll have to check it out.
um,
as it should be.
Yes.
so yeah, speaking of the sequel, like let's talk about that final scene in AVP. Um, the final scene features a dead predator lying on the ship, and then we get a chest buster, and it looks like an alien predator hybrid. Like I'm just gonna throw my own thoughts out there because you guys already knew that was coming. But for me, when I watched it in theaters, I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like
Mhm.
just being like in total shock, like, oh yeah, the face hugger thing, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and just being like, oh my gosh, an alien predator. And I remember as a kid watching it, just thinking like of all like the designs of how that would look like a fully adult formed um predator xenomorph hybrid. And but I waited 3 years until that sequel came out. But like I guess, did you guys? I know you guys both said you already knew about the sequel, but did you guys have any reaction watching that scene?
It is a good cliffhanger. It is like a ooh, that's cool. That's new. I want to see what happens
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
So good way
Just
to end the movie.
yeah. Just quick clarification. I did not know that was coming, so it was a surprise to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I did see it, yeah, it was like in this movie where you just get everything. Of course, it ends with this, right? Of course, the one thing that might be missing, you still get that, right? A chest burster coming out of a predator, right? Um, yeah, kind of a fun way to end it. I don't know anything about the sequel, but it seems to me that you got a ship full of predators. They could probably handle that situation. I'm guessing it doesn't go so well for them, but just in my mind, um, yeah, a ship full of predators could probably take on a little chest burster, but that's just me.
So, yeah, so that's our discussion on the AVP movie. Let's talk a little bit about, how it fits in the franchise, like how well of a job do you think this movie was done fitting into the larger Alien and Predator franchises?
I think it does like a solid, serviceable job. Like that, like because Alien's so far in the future, and like it, I guess I haven't seen all the Alien movies, so I guess there's a lot I don't know, but I think they're because one's on a ship, Aliens is on a different planet, I think, right?
Hmm.
Like nothing's really on Earth.
No.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, because three I think is also in on a ship.
Yeah, everything's always been in space outside of nothing has ever been on Earth.
So like it's cool to see it like finally like what happens if an alien hit Earth? What would they be like? Um, and of course now we know with the Prey, with of course with the movie Prey, you kind of see this thing like the predators kind of come to Earth every so often, every like few years. So they seem to have this interest in the planet already.
Hmm.
And so like I think I think it fits in like pretty well. It's not it's there's since there's some holes in my knowledge, there's probably some things I'm missing. Maybe it doesn't fit in as well as I think, but I think to the like the casual viewer, you kind of pick up on the little clues, you pick up on the little fan service, and you kind of like, oh, okay, this feels like it works with the canon of both, and it does kind of tie them together.
Hmm. Henry, anything you want to add on?
Yeah, I agree. It fits well in the legacy of Alien and Predator films for sure. You know, yeah, I was thinking before I watched this movie, there's a reason I hadn't seen this movie in 20 years. I thought it was garbage. I thought it was um like a total B movie that was like really poorly made and was just made for cashing in purposes kind of thing. Um and the critical response was sort of like in line with that, like just pulling some numbers. IMDb has a average rating of 5.7 out of 10.
Hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes has it at 22% on the tomato meter, 39% on the popcorn meter. So like all indicators are this is just one to skip, right? So I never really thought much of this and I just really never considered watching it. So how surprised I was, how entertained I was watching this one, and very surprised how well it honors other Alien and Predator movies, you know?
Hmm.
Um, well, honors maybe isn't the best word for Alien movies because with Alien films, the Alien franchise has a history of like prestige movies, right?
Hmm.
I mean, we're talking about like the great filmmakers, right? Ridley Scott, James Cameron, right?
Yeah.
Um, Great actors, Sigourney Weaver, go down the line, like Michael Fassbender later, like just
Hmm.
like high quality, prestigious movies. Predator, on the other hand, is on the schlock side of things, right? It started off as an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle, and movies like Predator 2 or The Predator are very much campy and in that schlock cinema category, right? But somehow this movie does well in repping both franchises, right? I think AVP is tonally much more like a Predator movie than an Alien movie,
Hmm.
but nevertheless, I think it homages both franchises well. I mean, I could see a big time Alien fan being put off by the schlockiness of AVP.
Hmm.
But personally, I mean, I love Alien movies. I love Predator movies, and AVP is great. It does great in entertaining us, but also in like all these great Easter eggs and the fan service. Like there was care given to the fans of
Hmm.
Alien and Predator, I think,
Hmm.
and I think that needs to be stated.
I agree. Yeah. Um, Before we move on into another kind of discussion that I want to have, Christian, we're reviewing this episode for our annual Halloween episode. Would you consider this a horror movie? Since we
What I
know you're
consider this
fans of horror
horror.
movies.
I don't know, like I wasn't really scared at all as far as like anything that happens. Like it definitely feels like yeah, it's definitely more of the schlocky horror type of side. I
Uh-huh.
will say like it doesn't like Henry was saying, there's like kind of a prestige a bit with Alien and horror. Like it doesn't really have that same level of suspense, you know,
Hmm.
and I think it's just like because you're also just kind of but you're having fun with the movie the entire time. But like but also like I said, you do kind of have that haunted house bit with the pyramid, the way they're like trapped underground, and you do get all the alien kind of motifs and grossness that you know and love. I'd say it kind of leans more into being an action movie than a horror
Hmm.
movie, but I
Hmm.
do think there's still some of that horror DNA in it.
Hmm. So then, Henry, is this appropriate Halloween movie for our Halloween podcast review?
I did think about that actually. Like, I was definitely surprised how entertained I was with this movie, but I was also surprised about how much I felt like this was not a Halloween movie, right? This is like Porfirio's Halloween movie pick of the year, right? So I was like watching this movie and I was thinking, this doesn't feel like a Halloween movie at all. It's not rated R. It wasn't scary at all. It's much more of an action movie than it is a horror or thriller. Yeah, the list goes on. Like, okay, so there's like maybe a scene or two with xenomorphs hunting humans in the dark. That was a bit
So,
horror-ish and
like suspenseful.
Halloween-ish. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. But like 95% of this movie is not Halloween feeling, I think. And that's, I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like a Halloween movie.
I hear that.
Yeah, doesn't it all take place in the daytime? Like, is the final fight at night or is it? Because
Um,
it seems like it's pretty well lit throughout the entire movie.
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's Antarctica that doesn't have a lot of sunshine, so even if it is daylight, like I don't think we'll know.
Hmm.
But um,
Yeah,
so
it could
yeah,
be just the way it was shot.
yeah. Um, so I want to kind of shift now the conversation of the franchises because, in the beginning of this episode, I talk about like these are two legendary franchises, the Alien and Predator franchise, and it is kind of like any sci-fi fan like dream of this crossover project to come into fruition. And so this was done because both franchises were under Fox Studios. But as of we kn now that we know, as of 2019, who bought out Fox? Disney with Jones Marvel, you know?
Hmm.
And so currently there's been like comic crossovers of Marvel characters crossing over with both Aliens and the Predator. We've had a Predator versus Wolverine comic series. Currently, there's an Aliens versus Avengers comic series, Black Panther versus Predator comic series. How do you guys think these two legendary franchises fit within the Marvel universe?
Hmm. Oh, could like compared up against like say just like the Avengers or
Like, does it make sense for them to have to be included, or you think that's just kind of like it doesn't make sense? Why do
yeah,
it,
it
you
doesn't make
know?
sense. Well, fun fact, they also both fought Batman.
They did,
There's
yeah.
Batman versus Predator and Batman versus Aliens.
Hmm.
Which probably fits about as well as they do in Marvel. Um, probably I don't know. Probably overall, probably not too well because I think like the alien, the more powerful the human, the less scary the alien is.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, couldn't Iron like the facehuggers can't get to Iron Man. He could just blast him with his repulsor blast.
Then the acid will melt his armor.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Then he'll be screwed.
Like, I do think there's some fun matchups. Like, I feel like Predators might be a bit, better fit for Marvel
Hmm.
than the aliens. Because Predator, you kind of imagine, well, the fight. How would they fight Wolverine? How would they fight this character? You kind of think of the matchups with those. But
Hmm.
I mean, Marvel does have a lot of different planets. You could have Star-Lord find an alien planet, or a xenomorph planet, I mean.
Right. What about you, Henry? Thoughts of these two franchises crossing over?
Yeah, what you just mentioned, Christian, Star-Lord meeting an alien. I was thinking with the outer space aspect of Alien and Predator, it would make sense that cosmic Marvel would be involved, right? And also to your point earlier, you don't want to have Marvel superheroes that are too powerful. So like a Guardians of the Galaxy alien crossover might be kind of cool, where Star-Lord and his team on the Milano come across uh, a planet full of aliens, something like that. I mean, there's some potential there, I think. Yeah. And with Predator, uh, you know, the Predator is the ultimate hunter, right? Well, the Marvel Universe also has the ultimate hunter, Kraven the Hunter, right? So I think there's a pretty cool potential crossover there. um, some sort of a storyline with a Predator, with Craven, with Spider-Man, you know. I think there's a lot of potential there as well.
Mhm. Now, realistically, do you think we'll ever get like a Marvel and Alien or Predator crossover on screen outside of the comics?
Probably
Ooh.
not.
Live action, probably not. Maybe animated,
I could see
maybe.
an animated movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I
Go
think
ahead,
there
Chris.
could be a cool Elseworlds, kind of like that like Marvel Zombies, because you'd want that. See what happens. What happens if an alien like chest bursts out of like an actual Marvel hero?
Ooh.
It would kill them. So that's not something you could do. In 616.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But I think it'd be a cool idea.
To
Like
Deadpool, he never dies, so.
I guess so. Or Wolverine, he like heals after,
Yeah.
but the alien has like adamantium or something inside. But yeah, like what happens if what if it's like imagine like the Hulk. I think the Hulk also heals, but like what would a xenomorph look like then with just like that radioactive like blood of the Hulk?
I don't think I have. So yeah, so that's a cool, what if between the Marvel and Alien and Predator franchise now that Disney owns all that fun stuff. Um, yeah, should we get into our ratings or is there anything you guys want to talk about before we get into it?
No, I think I'm good.
Anything about the movie or how it fits into the franchise or connects to the Marvel franchise? Anything, Henry?
No, I'm good. I think we're ready for ratings.
Okay, rating time. Yay. So, um, once again, we're gonna rate out of 5 stars. Henry, you want to do the honors and go first?
Yeah, sure. So this one was a tough one for me. Like I've been saying, I was pleasantly surprised how much I was entertained by this film. And yeah, I really thought it'd be like a two for me, but it wasn't. I'm definitely giving this a recommendation. Honestly, I'm sitting at like a 3.5, but we really don't do like decimals. So yeah, I'm kind of struggling between a three or a four. Like I'm telling you, if they got the green light to go full R rated on this, this would be like a four easily, I think. I mean, it's one of those what ifs. We didn't get to see the rated R version of this movie, so I don't know how it would have been, but I'm guessing it would have been awesome, right? Um, it is schlocky. It is like a guilty pleasure kind of movie for sure. But just so surprising. Like it delivers on many levels and yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would watch it again anytime soon. And my thoughts on the movie might not be as excited as they are now if I were to see it again in the future. But right now, like I'm just so happy that I had so much fun watching this movie. I just watched it yesterday, and I'm like still pumped up, man. I'm really stoked that I got to see this movie that I had no idea would be this entertaining. So for that, I'll give it a four. 4 out of 5.
Wow, high praise.
Yeah.
Christian?
Hey, I think I'll probably go a little lower, but it's definitely still a recommendation. I'm feeling a three, solid 3 out of 5. The movie feels like it does set out to do everything and give us everything we want to see. I think, like I said before, I don't think it really reaches the highs of either the Alien or the Predator franchise, and like it, like I don't think I cared about it. Like, yeah, Lex is fine, but I wouldn't say I like her as much as say like Sigourney Weaver or
Hmm.
Schwarzenegger or I'm blanking on her name, but the main character from Prey. I don't think
Oh,
it
okay.
really has that
Hmm.
strong human connection to really
Mm.
boost up that rating. Um, but it is a really good time. I think this movie was a it was something like I was not planning to watch ever. I think it's and just casual conversation about movies and about the franchises. A lot of people crapped on this one. Uh, it was very much like a oh yeah, this is good. Ah, AVP, yeah, that movie sucks. I'm like, yeah, don't watch it. It's PG-13. It's not worth your time. And so I heard that a lot, and I think, and I imagine a lot of people probably have, like just throughout the years. And it hasn't left the best legacy, but it was a very pleasant surprise, and I had a lot of fun with it. There's definitely a lot worse you could probably do with both franchises than I think this movie. So I'm feeling a solid 3 out of 5.
So now am I gonna hear you like be one of those people that defends the movie now?
I guess so. You got a defender right here.
Cool, cool, cool. So I want to give two ratings to this. I definitely want to give it a 4 out of 5 just because there's a lot of nostalgia that comes to it for me. Like I said, I watched this opening weekend back in '04. This was definitely like I guess like my love letter as a kid watching and who grew up with both franchises and just seeing it happen on the big screen. Like as a kid who you don't really watch for the storyline, you just want to see two badass characters go at it. I had a lot of fun watching it and rewatching it. It definitely brought back all those memories and feelings and everything like that. Um, so I think because of nostalgia, I want to give it a 4 out of 5. But being unbiased and taking out the nostalgia, I think I would give it a 3 out of 5. Both of you guys bring out good points about like this film was entertaining, um, but the storyline it was kind of random. It kind of feels flat. The humans you don't really care for. You just want to watch this movie just to be entertained and watch aliens and predators go at it against each other and against the humans. And you just want to see that action. And you don't really get, I feel like a lot of that. You get some cool action scenes, but we need more. We want more. And so because of that, I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Hey, one last point before we wrap up. Um, I know everyone stated their case, but I can't help but re-emphasize the point that you're not supposed to like the humans in this movie. And like if you don't like the humans, it's that's how it's supposed to be. It makes the human kills that much more satisfying. So just I'll leave I'll leave it at that. I want to go back to there's this one scene where there's two characters and they're talking about how they have kids and they don't want to die, right?
Mm,
They're both
mhm,
dads, right? One's
mhm.
one's like, I have two sons, and the other guy's like, I have one son.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just thinking, okay, one of these guys is definitely dying, but the other one is probably gonna live, right? Well, guess what? They both end up fucking dying. And like okay, I guess their kids are gonna be fatherless, right? And like the movie does not give a fuck about them, right? And I kind of respect that stance, you know. And again, the humans, we're not here to care about the humans in this movie. Well, Lex to an extent, but everyone else completely expendable. So I'll just say that. Okay, so shall we go to our comics recommendation, Porfirio?
Sure. So, like I mentioned during the podcast, Marvel did buy out both franchises, and Money Grab decided to release some Predator and Alien story comics. And so each franchise does have its own solo series. So here is some couple recommendations. So for the aliens, there is this cool storyline called Alien Bloodlines. And like it has a cool cover of just the xenomorph, and I guess something you don't really expect from Marvel, like having like a horror, sci-fi kind of um vibe going on. But it's actually pretty cool. The story is about this guy named Gabriel. He works for um if I remember correctly, Wayland Industries. And oh, he does. Yeah, he works for Wayland Corporation, and he is kind of retired, but his son wants to kind of expose Wayland to all these dark secrets that they have. So he goes to a Wayland building to kind of expose whatever secrets the facility may have. And da 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 da, he finds like xenomorphs and face huggers and all this stuff. And so the character Gabriel goes back and saves his son from being an idiot.
Cool.
That is Alien Bloodlines. And Predator, that storyline is called Predator Day of the Hunter. And it's kind of, I guess, similar to Prey, whereas like um this young girl, she is trying to inhabit a new planet with her family, and along with like this other group of scientists, and this predator comes and kills everybody except her because she hides. And so she makes it like her life mission to go and kill this predator that killed her family. So definitely recommend those two.
Right on. Great recommendations. And with that, we can wrap up the episode. This is farewell from Henry, Porfirio, and Christian.